Holy cow. But when you're up, the downs ain't too far behind. I've been waiting on this. The Cubs have played some good ball against some good teams, but we needed to see how we measure up against our division ops. And not because I think this division is going to be good or by any stretch of the imagination. And definitely not because I think the Brewers, the Milwaukee Brewers, are on the same level as the Chicago Cubs, because I don't believe that at all. It's because last season the Cubs were an 83-win team with a 23-29 record against the division. You flip that record around a 29-23, a difference of 6 games. And it's extremely plausible because the Cubs lost a lot of bullshit games last season. They had the most blown leads in the majors with 33. You flip that record around a 29-23, and the Cubs would have been a playoff team. Doing better in this division is key. 52 games against subpar teams should be a walk in the park. It should be a comfortable stroll down 53rd Street on a good weather day, sunshine, with an ice cream cone in your hand from Kilwins. The last 2 series were steps in that direction. Dominating the Pittsburgh Pirates, and for a series win, a series that they won 2 out of 3 games, and crushing their ace and Cy Young candidate Paul Skeens. And that was in the previous series before going for the sweep today against the Milwaukee Brewers. Let's talk about that series. They just ended today. It was a really, really positive, good weekend for the Chicago Cubs until today's game. They got some bad news during Shada Imanaga start, but before I get into that, I want to talk about the games themselves. The Cubs took 2 out of 3 from the Beer Boys this weekend, improving their record to 21-14. They won big on Friday, 10-0, and followed that up with a nice, comfortable win, 6-2 on Saturday. And obviously Sunday was a 4-0 loss. My thoughts on this series as a whole was that we're in a completely different league than the Brewers this season. Completely different. The Brewers had been for the last handful of seasons. They've been a superior team in the division. They won the division last year by 10-plus games. And they lost a bunch of key players. They still lapped the division. But this weekend, it felt like the Cubs were the pissed-off father who came home with an attempt to take off his belt and serve justice to the backside of a lot of rowdy kids. Friday and Saturday were easy wins. Ben Brown on Friday, Jameson Taillon on Saturday both did their jobs extremely well. Ben Brown was amazing on Friday. 6 shutout innings of dominant baseball. He was outstanding and looked the part. I had a feeling he was going to have a bounce back game because he's done that this season. One good game, mid next game. And the Brewers were the perfect team to get your stride back against. Taillon for himself, another quality 6 innings on Saturday. And the offense helped make those games very easy for the pitchers, particularly with the long ball, the home runs. The Cubs love the long ball. They just hit a bunch of them. They've hit 3+ home runs in a game 10 times this year. That is the most in all of baseball. Individually, so many positive takeaways from Friday and Saturday. PCA continues to be on another effing planet. He hit 2 home runs on Friday. He's hitting well over 300, and he's leading the majors, and he's leading the major leagues in home runs since April 13th. He's ahead of Shohei Ohtani, who you might have heard of before, last year's MVP. He's ahead of him in home runs and stolen bases. PCA plays gold glove defense. He's all over the place in a great way. He's exciting to watch. I've said it once. I've said it before. He's peak Javi vibe. Honestly, it might be started checking to see whether PCA can win the MVP. I know the odds have got to be there because he's been lights out. Easily an all-star in his second full season. And it's crazy that he's doing it from the 7th spot in the batting order. He said he likes being batting down there. And if that's the case, you don't move him. Unless there's an injury to Hap or somebody else up the top of the order, you leave him at 7 and let him continue to rock out from right there. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Speaking of guys finding their spot, Dansby Swanson was moved to the 8th spot as a consequence of being poor offensively. I was watching the guys on the Locked On Cubs network, and they compared him to Jason Hayward right now. That's tough. Jason Hayward was lost offensively. He was an 0 for 4 every game, but he had that glove. He had that leather. But when you think about it from a strictly statistical standpoint, I mean, it's fair. But since being put in that 8th spot, Dansby Swanson is 9 for 22. That is a .410 batting average for my computational lacking friends. He's swinging a very good bat over the last several days. He's one of the best offensive weeks he's had in a long time, maybe ever since he came to Sheffield and Addison. Kyle Tucker also looked like he's back. He had a home run on Saturday. He was 5-11 for this series, 3 runs, 2 RBIs, 2 walks. The Cubs offense just doesn't stop. Whether they're stealing bases, hitting behind runners, or taking the ball out of the ballpark. This is a really, really good offensive baseball team. Far and away right now, the number 1 offense in all of baseball. They are first in average, first in runs, first in stolen bases, and second in OPS, third in on base, and third in home runs. The bullpen, the much maligned bullpen, has been better the last week or so. Since that roller coaster game against the Diamondbacks on April 18th, the Cubs are third in both starter and bullpen ERA, 2.76 and 2.12 respectively. Brad Keller gave him 2 good innings on Saturday, which is interesting because he's been a starter for most of his career. So a lot of good stuff from Friday and Saturday, but then came today. Then came Sunday. Cubs went for the sweep. Freddie Peralta was dealing for the Brewers. And Shota Imanaga was right there matching them blow for blow, shot for shot. The game was 0-0 in the bottom of the 6th. Shota was looking really good. He looked like he had his best stuff. He was hitting 93 on the gun. It was looking like a classic Imanaga game. So it's very frustrating that his day ended the way it did, because sometimes when a guy gets hurt, it's when he's struggling. And Shota Imanaga looked like he was at the top of his powers. Justin Steele, for example, he got hurt. He was struggling. But this is definitely different. Jackson Turrios single. Isaac Collins popped out. William Contreras walked, and then it happened. Christian Yelich hit into a force out. Imanaga was running over to first base to cover. Then he grabbed the back of his leg. That's the international sign for that my hammy hurts. He left the game, what was called a left hamstring strain. So this is different from last game where he left early, because that was the other leg, and that was described as cramps. So you just wonder if there was some type of compensation going on there. One leg's compensating for the other. I've discussed it when talking football and basketball and other shows on this channel, but to really heal from a hamstring injury, you're going to need like 6 weeks. It's not like a cramp where you can come back in 5 days like Imanaga just did, but this is definitely going to be an IL stint. The imaging will tell tomorrow. He's got an MRI scheduled, and we'll figure out what we got going on from there. Justin Steele had a grade 1 strain last season. He missed 5 weeks. A grade 1 is the lowest grade for a strain. So we are hoping, fingers crossed, that is a grade 1. Anything higher will be disastrous for this team. Losing your opening day starter with a TJ is bad enough, but losing your number 2 for an extended period of time during the opening summer months is crazy. You probably be down all of May, and there's the coming back in June. You have to ramp up here to build up that lather until you're back feeling your best. Next thing you know, it's been 8 weeks. Emenaga left the game. Julian Merriweather came in, and he was awful. He got into trouble like seemingly immediately. He had a wild pitch, allowed a base hit, steal, then a double. Next thing you know, the Cubs are down 4. That was my only negative takeaway from the weekend. Mayweather's pitching. I think the Cubs have a few guys throwing better than him right now, so I don't know why he was in the game. Could have put Presley out there, Hodge, Alzolay, Valencia maybe. I don't know. This loss also feels weird because now, if you watch baseball on Sunday, you used to seeing the Cubs lose. They're 1-5 on Sundays this year. So after this game, big question: who do we replace Emenaga with? The depth is going to be tested even further. The options close by are Chris Flexen and Jordan Wicks. But the big question is Cade Horton. Do you bring him up? Wicks is in AAA. Flexen's on the squad. Cade Horton is also in AAA in Iowa. And Horton, if you don't know, he's the number 1 pitching prospect in this system. He has a 1.24 ERA in 29 innings. Do the Cubs bring him up? That's the big debate right now. If they bring him up, everything is magnified. Everything he does is going to be big time. He's going to be making big time starts, big time pitches for a team that's trying to go to the postseason. He's never had a heavy workload in his career. He's never thrown 150 innings. So I don't know how Craig Counsell, if that decision is made, I don't know how Craig is going to manage those innings. They might just decide to keep him down there so they can manage his workload and keep him sharp. I don't envy the decision the Cubs brass has to make, Jed and Craig and the rest. Speaking of Jed, is it time that he started making those inquiries about trading for a starter? The Rockies and White Sox are open for business because both are on pace to win 60 games combined. So a lot to figure out on the pitching front now with Emenaga down for an extended period of time. The Cubs on Monday, they started a 3-game series against the San Francisco Giants. I think, obviously, if you look at my sweatshirt, I think the Cubs are going to win this series. I think the Cubs are going to win every series. I think they're better than the Giants, and I think they're going to merch it. The Giants have an identical record as the Cubs, so I don't want to do too much. But the Cubs have played teams west of the Mississippi extremely well. The Giants are coming into this series missing Logan Webb, so that is a nice win for the Cubs. The Giants do have some guys that are pretty good. Matt Chapman and Wilmer Flores, they both have 7 home runs. Young-Hoo Lee, he's hitting .310. Adam Duvall is always hitting the Cubs pitchers well. So it's not going to be a walk in the park. It's not going to be a stroll down Lake Shore. So the Cubs are going to have to bring their A game. But I think they can do it. I'll recap that series at the conclusion and all Cubs news in between. Go Cubs, go. Thanks for listening to this latest edition from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Whether you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watching on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And all my homies from Chicago, we say 3 things: bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.